Hello. So, this week's discussion is to discuss why the concept of Western civilization is relevant today. I think before we can understand why it is relevant, we need to discuss and understand what it entails, which is heavily debated among historians today. Our reading, Who Put the West in Western Civilization, explains that the term is not geographical but more of a way of life, civilization, and intellectual thinking that is European driven. The author explains that civilization is not something we are born with, but that each generation has to put in effort because it is a structure of ideas that are built over time. Bradley Berzer, author of What Exactly is the West, explains that the West reaches all of Europe and is an idea of or way of thinking that started before the year 480 BC. He mentions that from the Americas, Christian Europe lay to the west, and during the Crusades, the Orthodox churches were called Eastern. The Western world was different in that love of wisdom and the search for universal principles arose. Both of these readings talk about how today, in a political correct world, that the West is described as racist and sexist. However, knowing the history of the world and how democracy and liberty started in the West is important because it shows the opposite, and that, as Bertzer states, those who attack Western civilization have absolutely no idea that their freedom comes from those dead white males they so hate. In Inventing Freedom, Hannon expresses that our laws, democracy, and language united us in civilization and a shared connection to the Western world. The concept of Western civilization is relevant today because it is a part of our Constitution, our laws, how we see and view each other, and other countries that speak our shared English language. The Western world is an introduction to our freedoms and liberties that we enjoy today. With that being said, I think that gives us an understanding of what exactly the West is, even though it's debated as to when it started or what is included in that. The basics of what the West is where our freedoms start, which is why it's important in today's world is teaching people and the concept of the West, letting people know exactly what the West civilization entails. Because without that knowledge, people will continue to think the Western world and its history is solely sexist and racism, when that's not the case. We know like people know bits and pieces of what's going on in the past, but without studying and without knowledge, they're not getting the whole picture and the whole idea or the whole concept. So knowing the concept is essential to our way of life and what the future is going to bring to our society and future generations. Thank you.